Hey guys, this is Leah with Scott Leroy Marketing, and in today's tip video, I'm going to show you how you can use the same email address for both of your clients to sign. So typically you will want to use a separate email address. Let's say if you have a husband and wife on a transaction, you will want to use an email address, the wife's email address and the husband's email address, respectively, to have them electronically sign. Okay, as that's how the system was created. I'll include a tip video linked in the description of this YouTube to show you a 20-minute overview on how to do that normally in KW Command with DocuSign to send your forms for e-signature. However, in this tip video, I'm going to focus on, let's say that your clients share an email address, right? They have one email address for both the husband and the wife, and you need to get both of their electronic signatures. How can we set up the form to make that happen? All right, there's a few manual steps we'll have to do in order to make this possible, but I did just test this out and it worked just fine. So first thing we'll do, of course, you'll need to pull in the form that you need to your DocuSign room. So if you have not already, make sure you are in your DocuSign room and you can click to add your forms, your DocuSign forms from that blue button on the top right. And again, the tip video in the description of this video will walk you through how to do that and how to edit the form as well. All right, so at this point, you'll want to have filled out the form as well by simply clicking on the form to open it. And then you can go ahead and type in the form to have all of the information entered in. All right, so in this tip video, I'm assuming that you have done both of those things, added the form and edited it as well. And we click on Save and Close on the top right. All right, then once that loads, we want to go ahead and add the form to an envelope to send that to our clients. We can do that in a couple different ways, right? But I'm going to go ahead and click on the Envelopes tab on the top toolbar here. So the Envelopes tab on your Rooms toolbar here to go ahead and click New on the top right. So we want to create a new envelope here. All right, so I'll click on New on the top right of the Envelopes tab. And that will take me in to put in the information for the envelope. So here I really try to channel snail mail to make sense of this. So pretend you grabbed an actual envelope in your hand. We now need to go ahead and add the documents to your envelopes. So I can do that by clicking that top blue button that says Room Docs to just simply grab the form I need to send, or forms. So you can select one or multiple at this time and click Add Selected. And once the forms have been added in here, and of course guys, feel free to pause the video at any time if you're trying to follow along and do it with me. You can absolutely pause it, or you can just watch on my screen and that's fine too. All right, so once you've added the forms in by clicking the Room Docs option, now the next part in snail mail is we would add the recipients to the front of the envelope, right? So this is where things get a little interesting when it comes to two clients using the same email address. So we'll add the first one as normal. So we'll click Add Participants, or Add Recipient, sorry. And we'll select that top option. Okay, so you'll have the pre-tagged roles option as long as this is a DocuSign form. Okay, if it's a PDF, you'll just have that second option. But either way, go ahead and select the very top option. And we'll go ahead and assign our client as Seller 1. Now, since they share the same email address, we're going to leave off Seller 2 right now. Okay, so right now we're just adding in Seller 1. Okay, and this is pulling from the room details. All right, so if you're not seeing that information display here, that will pull from the room details. Okay, and that should autofill from command as well. And then we click Add Selected. So now after that, this is when we need to go ahead and add in the second signer. But this time we'll need to click Add Recipient. And when we do that, we can go ahead and click on the Room Participants option right here. To add in the client a second time. So I'm going to add the same client this way. You can also, I'll show you an alternative route, right? But we want to just add the same client in again. But what we're going to do, the catch here is we are going to change one of their names. Okay, and you can also add this in manually. If you select email address from here, that's fine too. So you can just manually enter in this information. Okay, but either way, once you pull in the same signer again, we need to change the name. So let's say we want this to be Vince Vaughn. Okay, that's the second signer. But in theory, that would be right the spouse on the transaction who uses the same email address. Now, we do want it to say needs to sign for both of these, right? But something you'll want to pay attention to, this might have updated to a 2 for you, and you'll typically want this to be, now this is completely up to you, but what this means is it will send the form at the same time. If they're both labeled a 1, it'll send the form at the same time to the both of them to have them sign. Now that I think about that, that's fine. It will send the same email twice to the client's email address, the one email address that they're using, which gets a little confusing, especially if they're in Gmail and it stacks the emails. So if you change the second one to a 2, what would happen is that, first of all, when I go to send this, it'll send to the first client to sign. Then it will only send to the second client to sign after client number 1 has signed, right? So after client 1 is signed, client assigned a 2 will then be sent the email so that they can go to sign. So I might recommend that if you are using this practice for one email for 2 clients so that it makes it a little less confusing for them. You can always add a note to that the second email will come after the first has signed. If you would like to add an email message. And then we'll click next on the top right. Guys, and of course, feel free to pause the video if you want to write out a message or anything. And then again, we clicked on the yellow next button on the top right. All right, so we're in the home stretch here. So on this page, if you scroll down so you should now see the form that you're trying to send. If you scroll down to the first place where initial boxes or signature boxes should display, you'll notice that there's only one there. Okay, so it only will automatically add the initial or signature boxes for the one client. The second client, you just need to manually add that. Okay, so it's a little extra work, but maybe worth it as a good workaround for this. So how you do that is by clicking on your name, or the client's name, excuse me, on the top right. And you'll see the other client display as well. Now you'll also notice these colors to the left of each client name, and notice that the color associates to the color of these fields on the left-hand side. So if I click on the other client here, right, that turns all these fields blue, or whatever that color would be, and then I can go ahead and select initial, for example, on the left side panel, bring it over to the form and click to drop that. All right, so the different colors note to you as the agent which of your clients is able to sign each field. So you can quickly eye over to make sure that each client can sign each spot. So I would need to go through and add in the initial box or signature field manually for that second client that you're wanting them to use the same email. And once I've done that, okay, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. Once I've done that, I laid all the field that I want that client to be able to sign, I can go ahead and click send on the top right. And just as an extra safety precaution, you guys can always click recipient preview on the top right. I usually do myself so that I can make sure I set it up properly. You'll be able to see, if you click on recipient preview, you'll be able to see, how each one of your clients is able to view it. So when they go to view it and they click to sign it, right, you can see exactly that you set it up correctly. So now if I X out of this on the top right, I can go ahead and click send whenever you're ready. And that will send that over to your clients so that they're able to sign. And I'm actually going to bring over my client's view of the email. So this is where I sent the email, just so you can see what it looks like for your clients. So this is the email they receive, and I'll click on review document. This is what your clients see. Okay, so they'll click on to continue or start, I believe it said, and it'll take them down to sign each part. So I'll go ahead and click to sign that. So I'm just going through and signing as the client real quick so that you guys can see what it looks like when the second client signs. So once they sign all fields, they can click on Finish on the top. And once they do, it'll let them know that they have a copy of the form stored in their DocuSign account if they have an existing account, or it'll let them know that I'll email them a copy of the fully signed form. All right, so if I click no thanks for right now, all right, it lets me know I'm done. So at that time, all right, I can go back to my email. So this is now the second client. After the first client signs, the second client can then go back into the same email inbox, and here's a brand new email from DocuSign. It was sent right after client number 1 signed, right? Because we noted that as a number 2 on the envelope. So now client number 2 is going through, and we're doing a very similar process here as the client, right? We're going through. It might prompt for the same email, or I'm sorry, the same signature. At this point, client number 2 would just want to click Adopt New, or if they have a second signature here, it would give them that option. But they can go ahead and click Adopt New to adopt an initial. All right, and there it is. It put in Vince Vaughn's initials. I'll go through and continue doing so and click Finish. All right, so that was all from the client's perspective. So now, as to wrap up this tip video, I'm going to take you back to the Documents tab of my DocuSign room, so I can show you what it looks like when the fully signed form comes back to your DocuSign room. It might just take a second. And while that's taking a second to come over, I just want to let you know that something that's slightly different in DocuSign than dotloop is you will not see the form partially signed in your DocuSign room until all clients have gone through and signed. So you may get a notification that client number 1 has signed, but when you go to your document section of your room, you don't see the signed form. Okay, that signed copy of the form will not come back over until all clients have signed or done their part. So now that that's come back over, in the Documents tab of my room, I see a signed copy of the form. That's also something unique to DocuSign that was not like this in dotloop. You'll see a signed copy of the form with a green signed icon, and you'll see the original form, right, with the blue form icon. This is the original interactive form that you just started typing to fill in. All right, and the signed copy will come over as a second copy of the form as a PDF. Okay, so if I open it, right, I know I can't just start typing in it, but if I scroll down, that's where I see those clients' initials. They are different, however, they use the same email address to go ahead and sign. So if you have any questions on that, please feel free to email us, support@scottleroymarketing.com, and we'd be more than happy to answer those for you. I hope this helped, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.